Hello everybody, welcome back. We are going to be doing another pretty chill practice today. Difference being that we are going to be standing. So we won't just be fully supported by the floor. We're going to be standing a bit. But having said that, basically all you're going to need is a mat and maybe 2 blocks or 2 things that are like yoga blocks that you can use just to help you reach the floor a little easier in some of our standing postures. But aside from that, when you're ready, we can get started. All right, so to get started, we're going to inhale the arms up overhead. They can make contact if you want. We're going to exhale as we side bend to the left. Inhale back up through center. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale up through center. We're going to open the arms and let them float down slowly, creating length through the neck. Shoulders are low. And we're going to inhale the arms out to either side, and we're going to give ourselves a little hug. As we exhale next, we're going to open the arms as we twist to one side, looking over that back shoulder. Inhale, coming back to the front, giving yourself a little hug again. Exhale, opening to the other side, twisting to the other side. Inhale, opposite arm on top, give yourself a little hug. Inhale the arms wide, coming into a standing twist again. And inhale, sorry, I don't know if I said exhale on that last one. Inhaling as we come back to center, switching which arm is on top. Exhaling as we twist to the other side. And inhale back through center. We can tuck our chin and slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time. Bringing a nice bend into the knees. Your abdomen might meet your thighs. Hands can dangle towards the floor, touch the floor. You can cradle your thumbs in opposite elbow creases and just let the head hang. And then you can begin to tuck the tailbone and start rolling one vertebrae at a time back up to standing. Arms can come down by your side, shoulders are back and down. All right. We are going to begin by stepping a little wide on the mat. So a nice wide-legged stance, but not too generous that it's, going to make your lower back dip more than usual. All right, and we are just going to turn out both feet so that they're 45 degrees. And we're just going to introduce a little bend in the knees and the hips, keeping the torso relatively upright, okay? We can straighten those knees, and we can bend them again. Sending the knees in line with where your toes are pointing so that they're not collapsing inwards, okay? We can straighten the knees. Now, we're going to, as we bend the knees, inhale the arms up overhead, nice and straight, shoulders down. Exhale the arms down as the knees straighten. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. All right. From the hips, spine is staying pretty neutral. From the hips, we are going to begin to hinge forward. First, let's bring our toes back so that they're pointing straight ahead. And like I said before, you're gonna do your best to keep a neutral spine until you are as low as you're able to go from just hinging at the hips. Your fingertips are gonna get ready to reach for the floor. Okay, and when you've gone as far as you can go, you can round your spine, you can let your head hang, you can play with if you need to bring your feet in or out a little bit, but we are going to basically walk our hands forward so that we come into kind of a wide-legged downward dog. So you're gonna push away with your hands, creating length through the arms, through the shoulders, through the spine. Let the head kind of hang a little bit so that it stays in line with the spine, and send your bum back towards the wall behind you. We're just going to hold this for a moment, so long as you're comfortable enough here. Okay, and then we're going to just work that out by just doing some body rocking. So you can walk your hands a little bit back in towards the body, so kind of below the face. And we're just gonna rock our weight back into our feet more, and then forward into the arms more. And we're just doing a little bit of hip and shoulder movement here. Spine stays relatively neutral. All right, and then you can finish walking your hands back in under you. We are going to turn out the right foot so that that foot is either 45 degrees or more. Actually, let's just stick to 45 degrees. 45-degree angle out with the front foot. You can have your blocks here if you want to help you reach the floor. We're gonna bend that knee of the right foot and we're gonna come down low. For now, see how far over you can move by bending that right knee, where your left foot stays fully in contact with the floor and your right foot stays fully in contact with the floor. Keeping a neutral spine, arms are reaching right down in front of your face, hopefully on something tall if you cannot get quite far enough over. And we're just going to spend a moment here just recognizing how much ankle movement you have, how much length through your inner leg you have. And then if you want to, you can lift that right heel so that you can come down lower. You can also spin on the heel of the back foot so that the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. If you want to kind of change the angle of pull down that leg, and also when getting this low, that will probably feel more comfortable on that ankle over there rather than it trying to stay parallel to the edge of the mat. Okay? We can take the block that's in our right hand, move it over beside us on the right, and we can open the left arm up. This is going to ask for a bit of balance. We can bring it back down. Bring the right hand back in front. And then however you need to, we're gonna push back up and we're gonna get back into that wide-legged stance that this all began in. So pushing off that right foot, bringing both feet parallel with the edges of either end of the mat, coming back to that forward fold. You can have your hands on blocks here. We're gonna turn that left foot out 45 degrees. We're gonna walk our hands over with the blocks and we're just going to bend that left knee and we're just gonna see how far over and how low we can get while both feet remain fully in contact with the floor, just for a couple breaths. And then if you want, you can go ahead and lift that heel Spin on the heel of the right foot and get a little lower into it. We're going to bring the left block over to the left side. We can put our weight into that hand a little bit, open the right arm overhead, getting that length right down the right hand side of the body. We can bring that right hand back to the block. Left hand can come back in front, just returning to this version of the posture for a moment longer. And then when you're ready, pushing up with that left foot, bringing both feet parallel to the short ends of your mat and coming back to this forward fold. We can move the blocks out of the way. We can revisit that wide-legged downward dog for a moment. All right, then we can walk the hands in. We can heel and toe the feet closer to one another. Coming back to a generous knee bend, forward fold. Tucking the tailbone and beginning to roll up the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Coming back to that nice mountain pose with the shoulders back and down. Okay. All right, so now let's just turn ourselves to face the long end of the mat. You can bring your blocks with you. All right, so right foot is going to be forward, pointing forward. The left foot is going to step back, 45-degree angle. It's just a bit of a lunge-like position. We can bend this front knee. We can inhale the arms up. Exhale to straighten that knee, hinge at the hips, and bring the hands down towards the floor or your blocks. Inhale as you bend the knee, hinging back up from the hips, arms follow. Exhale, hinging forward, knee straightens. And if the knee straightening is not jiving in your body, you can give it a try just staying in warrior one leg so that knee stays bent. And you just fold forward at the hips. Hands come down to the floor, but you keep that front knee bent. Basically, it's an option between warrior two, folded forward, hands on the floor, or pyramid, folded forward, hands on the floor. One asks for a lot more lengthening down the back line of the leg than the other. So one more, let's fold forward. And we're going to hinge back up. Your hands can come back down to your side for a moment. We're going to step this back leg back just a bit further, this time parallel with the left shorter end of your mat. Bending that front knee, arms out to the side, coming into more of a warrior two position. Again, we can inhale as we straighten that front knee. Left hand rests on left thigh, right arm comes overhead. Exhale as we open back up into a warrior two. We can take it further, bringing the right forearm to the thigh, left arm overhead, sending your eyes towards the ceiling. Inhaling to hinge back up through warrior two. Exhale, exalted warrior. Exhale through warrior two. into extended side angle. Coming back up through warrior two into exalted. And returning to warrior two. We're going to parallel that right foot. You can bring it a little further in so that it's kind of pigeon-toed. We're going to spin on the ball of the left foot. This right foot might need to step forward a little bit to be at 45 degrees and be in a comfortable warrior one position. We're going to bend that left knee. Inhale the arms up. And remember, there's an option of what you can do with the knee here. You can exhale, hinging at the hips as you fold forward and straighten that front knee, heading into more of a pyramid-like position. And then you can inhale as you bring a bend back into that knee, hinging up from the hips, bringing the arms overhead again. Or instead, you can exhale, you can keep that bend in the left knee, hinging at the hips, bringing the hands down to the floor. And inhaling back up. This takes some strength, coming from that forward fold position in a lunge-like position to lift back up. Takes a lot of strength and stability through those hips. I find especially that front one. So if you're struggling with this, you are not likely alone. Okay, hands can come down to the side for a moment. We're going to keep this left front foot pointing to this wall. We're going to step back maybe a bit more with the right and have it parallel with the back short edge of the mat there. Bringing a bend into that left knee. Arms come out into warrior two arms. Inhale, straightening that front knee. Right hand rests on right thigh. Left arm comes overhead. Exhaling through warrior two as you bend that knee again, sending your body over to the left. Left forearm rests on left thigh. Right arm comes overhead. Inhaling back up through warrior two. Straightening that knee, coming into an exalted warrior. And coming back through warrior two, left forearm to left thigh, right arm overhead. So we're gonna do that one more time. We're gonna come back up into an exalted warrior. Back through warrior two, to a side angle. Finish it off, coming back up into exalted. And ending in warrior two. All right, you can straighten that left knee. Let's turn both feet so that they're toes pointing forward. We're going to revisit that hinge at the hips, coming into another wide-legged forward fold. You can decide how wide-legged. We're going to walk our hands forward, again, revisiting that wide-legged downward dog, which I sometimes find feels lighter through my arms in a wide-legged stance versus a normal downward dog. Walk the hands back in under your face. We're going to walk them over to the left. You can turn that foot out a little bit if you want to. You can leave that leg straight if you want to. You can bend it if you want to. Just find what feels good or feels necessary in your body right now. There might be something in particular that you're wanting to stretch. Get kind of exploratory with it. Feel free to move around, shift around, pulse in and out of a position. Just start to feel where things happen and how they change.
We can walk our hands back through center over to the right. Again, you can turn that leg out a bit if you want to. You can bend the knee. You can pulse in and out of it. Just again, noticing what changes, in what way and where. What is your body craving? Ultimately, giving yourself permission to not just follow exactly what the teacher is telling you. Some might argue that that is asking for an injury to happen, but I would also argue that maybe what the teacher is telling you to do just doesn't jive with your body. You can walk your hands back through center, coming back to that wide-legged downward dog. Maybe what the teacher is teaching and cueing doesn't jive with your body, and by trying to keep up and do it anyways, you're actually going to hurt yourself. Yoga, philosophically, like there's a lot to it, but one of the biggest practices in yoga, in my mind, as a movement-oriented therapist, is listening to your own body and respecting your body's limits, which can change day to day, week to week, month to month. We'll walk our hands back in, coming into just a regular wide-legged forward fold, letting the arms and upper body dangle. All right, we are going to grab our blocks. We're going to heel and toe the feet in a little bit. Both feet are going to be pointed out 45 degrees, and we are going to start to send our bottoms down towards the floor. So we're coming into a pretty advanced position here. This is a pretty deep squat. Now, if you don't have the ankle flexibility to have your body forward enough that you're not just going to fall backwards, you're probably going to be up on the balls of your feet a bit. There's a couple options. You can put something under your heels so that even though your foot has to be kind of on the balls of the feet, it's at least making contact with something throughout the full foot. You can also take a couple of things and you could place them behind you so that you have something for your sits bones, your bum cheeks to land on. And you can come into more of an upright position. Now this takes a lot of pressure off of the hips, the knees, and the ankles. It takes the balancing aspect out of it. You are allowing your body weight to just move back, but it could just be that being in this deep of a squat-like position is what your body needs right now and all that it can manage right now. As you get those ankles loosened up, you might find that you can start pitching your body forward a bit more. You can start lowering the blocks, and one day you might be at the point where you can just hang out in this position. It took me a long time, not too long, but at least a year or two, I think, of doing my best to get into a squat every day, a few times a day. And in the beginning, it started out, I was still pretty much standing. And I was just bending my knees and crouching down as low as I could, where my heels didn't leave the ground. And over time, I got to where I am now. Now, my goal is to slowly start working on being able to bring my feet in a bit more and have my toes pointing forward. Right now, they very much have to be angled at 45 degrees, which is fine. If it turns out that this is as far as I get with this posture, then that's way more than I had before and way more than I thought I might be capable of. But you know, we always strive to just do a bit more if it is something our skeleton will allow. All right. So now that we've been here for a while, you might be wondering how the heck you're going to get out of this. Couple of options. If you absolutely need to, you can bail by just falling back onto your bum. You could also put your hands on the floor or the blocks and use your hands and arms to help yourself push up. But ultimately, it's really awesome if you have the strength and mobility to just stand up.
But again, that takes a lot of practice. It can take a lot of time. Okay, so now that we're back to standing, we're just gonna shake out our legs a little bit. And we're just gonna come back to some of what we did at the very beginning when we were opening up. We're just gonna stand feet hip width distance apart. We're gonna inhale our arms up. They can clasp if you want. Send those fingertips towards the ceiling, keeping the shoulder blades down, neck long. Inhale. Exhale as you side bend to the left. Inhale up through center. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale up through center. Arms can come down. Now we're going to do something a little different for our twist. We are just going to let our arms dangle and swing as they will. So as you twist, we're just going to let them kind of go with the body. Flail. You can twist through your legs. You can have your feet kind of lift off the floor a little bit so that you're not trying to rotate at your knees. Just a really loosey-goosey twist going through your full body. You can shift your weight onto one foot, the side that you're twisting to, if you want to. Just really relaxed. Okay? A couple more times. All right, and we're just gonna slow that down. Make the twist a little smaller. Arms are gonna flop a little less. All right. Okay, that is gonna conclude today's practice. It's a little different, all in standing, no shavasana at the end, but just kind of getting some movement in all directions, some twists, some reaching, getting the arms a little more involved, and that squat at the end. The ability to squat is something that we have robbed ourselves of in our Western civilization. Not a lot of us do it very regularly, but it is so beneficial to your body in so many ways. Not only is it a great indicator of how mobile and strong your lower body is for as you age, keeping that ability to be ambulatory, but also it's really great for your digestive system. But yeah, if there's any kinds of practices that you would like me to put together in the future, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to make sure that I'm making content that people are interested in. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you. I will see you next month.